There we go. I think we are recording now. So Johnny, we
Yes,
met.
sir.
Yes, sir. We met at a restaurant recently when I went to Montreal, and you and I had a little chat, which we published, and it was very interesting. But we before we started recording, because I started recording because the conversation with you was just so interesting because you have so many, you know, you have so much experience in real estate investing and knowledge, and it's really cool. And then when we stopped the recording, I felt like there was a need for you to talk a little bit more um, about what you had told me offline. So and this is, of course, this is based on the Quebec market. So I was doing a little bit of a series because, as you know, I was there in Quebec, spoke to several people, and got a little bit of insight into the market of um, into the Quebec market. So basically, what I wanted to ask you, just a little bit about yourself, about your real estate journey, and about your opinions about Quebec.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm going to be honest, Otto, that was a great night. I think that is probably the first YouTube interview to get published that I've ever been on. And it wasn't really an interview; it was more like a conversation between friends, which was so appreciated. Um, but yeah, I honestly also maybe the wine was flowing a little bit too much, but I don't remember the offline discussion too much. I'll have to ask for your help to remember that. It was a great discussion. I liked it, and I will, hopefully people will go back and take a look at it.
Well, I mean, for the benefit of the people watching this video, you could simply introduce yourself, and talk about what you've done, because I think it's great. Like, I think anybody who has even bought a single duplex is already on their way to, or it's already a cool real estate investor, because they're doing more than just single family residences. Not that there's anything wrong with single family, but the more units that you add into a single property, it's more profitable because of economies of scale. So yeah, just give us a little bit of an intro about yourself personally, about your life, and about your experience in real estate.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. I appreciate that. But I want to just, before I jump into who I am and what I've done, I want to just confirm, like, just say, I read a post just this morning, and yes, it's, what is it, Sunday morning, 11 o'clock in the morning. I'm on Facebook reading posts. I just read a post of somebody asking, and she's like, look, I'm 50 years old. I work like crazy. I'm trying to buy a duplex, this and that. And I'm thinking about this. I'm like, that's incredible that somebody's trying to get into it, right? I'm in my 40s, early 40s. I'm not going to mention that age, but in my early 40s. And, my wife and I, we started, I guess, a year after we got married. So we've been married almost 15 years. A year after we got married, we were renting an apartment. And I don't know, somebody asked me yesterday too. I was on a call yesterday or the day before, and they said, well, what triggered you? What triggered you? A young man, 18 years old, super bright, asks me, what triggered you to go into real estate? I have no idea. I don't know. I just looked at it. I said it. I'm from a pragmatic point of view, from I'm renting, from we're both working professionals, 1 year in our marriage. Let's see what we can do. Like, I'd love to try and get a duplex or a triplex or a 4-unit or whatever it is. So we started looking around, and we visited a ton with our real estate agent. And finally, we settled on one. It's in I'll call it a suburb of Montreal, on the Montreal island. It's in the suburb of Lachine. And we moved in. We were very lucky with that as well, because it was literally 3 sisters living in each of the units. And one of the conditions we had was, well, we're moving into one of them. We'd like your sisters to move out as well, right? And they were like, yeah, absolutely. That was the plan. And so we moved in, and it was totally vacant, right? And so we started the renovations. We hired the tradespeople needed for it, everything with permits, and we lived there for, I guess, 5 years. Once we renovated it, we sat on our laurels. Hey, congratulations to us, and we were happy with that. And as I'm driving to work every morning, I keep seeing this duplex down the street, literally down the street. I'm I'm saying, honey, I really want that duplex. She's like, why?
So you're living in a triplex at this time. The other two units are not rented yet, correct?
No. Well,
And now,
after about 6 months of renovations, 9 months of renovations, we finally got them rented, and now they're fully
okay.
rented. Yeah.
So now you have a fully rented triplex, and now you're looking at a duplex.
Yeah, I don't know what came over me. Again, no education, no experience. I know some of my uncles had, some units here and there, and that was about all I knew about real estate. Maybe some YouTube videos, whatever. But all I said to myself was, well, this worked out very well, and now our expenses are much lower, and all these things, because we're living in one of the three units, right? And so
hacking.
we're triplex hacking, I guess. And so I mean, that was the situation. When now we're fully rented, we're like, okay, things are going well, good tenants, here we go. And I'm driving to work and driving my wife to work. We were one vehicle at the time, I think, so long ago. And I kept saying, I love this duplex. Look at it, it's nice red brick standalone building, no attached, no, it's fully its own lot. Has a garage, double garage in the back, separate building there. I can think to myself, all these strategies, what can I do with it? And so I put a bid in, and I didn't win the bid. In fact, somebody I know won the bid and walked away. Yeah. And then so I went back and I bid again and won the bid. I was the only one. And this is 1 year. 1 year after owning the triplex, I put the bid in. By the time we owned it, it was 2 years from the first one.
By the time you owned which one?
The second one, the triplex.
The second one. And this is you without any real estate investing education. You're just like out of instinct. You have a triplex, you're house hacking. Now you're looking for a duplex. Now you actually own the duplex. So you're already expanding as a real estate investor.
Yeah.
No education, no formal education yet, just out of instinct.
Exactly.
Nice.
And the reason why I like this one duplex down the street from where I lived, is that the basement could be converted to a unit.
Wow.
So I'm looking at this and I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. Let me just call some architects. Let me call the city, getting exceptions, grandfather clauses, drawing the floor plans and sending them off to the architect sending me more official stuff, getting approvals. All these things, finding contractors. I needed somebody that was end to end. I don't want to hire multiple people. I needed a full-fledged contractor and business to come in and do this.
And again, all of this is in Quebec, right? In your neighborhood.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
and this was more than 10 years ago.
Yeah, that one I'll call 12 years old, 13 years old.
Yeah.
So just to kind of fast forward, because I know we have a certain time limit on this call, but hopefully we can get it all in. Maybe a third call.
Not really, man. If it becomes interesting, we'll just keep going.
All right, let's do it.
It is already interesting. I love hearing your story.
So yeah, that was it. So now I've got a triplex. I got two triplexes. One I live in, one I'm renting out. I turn around and I look at the garage and it's empty. So I start renting that, put it out on Kijiji. Hey, I got some space, start renting that out for a little extra cash. And I, held on to that one. And then we kind of took a break. Personal reasons, my wife and I needed some time. We're building a family. And so we took a long hiatus on that one. And in retrospect, it was very needed. And not to go into too much details, once we were done that, we said, okay, well, we're about to start a family. We need a home. We want a home. We don't necessarily need we want a home. And so that's what we did. Now, throughout, as I converted that duplex to a triplex, that second purchase, again, not knowing very much about this, I refinanced it. I said, I need to refinance this. I know that's a strategy. Thank you, YouTube. Right. And, got the equity back out of that, paid off the construction bills and the renovation loans and all these things. And to do that, I had to refinance my first purchase that I'm actually living in. So it's a little back and forth. I'm using these strategies that I didn't even know were strategies. and tools.
And that I find that to be very cool because see, I think if not most of the time, if not all the time, really the only way to do things in life is to actually do them, because we wait for something before we can do something, and but we never get to do it because we never do the prior step that we're always thinking of doing. But in that case, you said, okay, I don't know about it, but I'm just going to do it. I'm going to take action. And what was the result of that? Just experience. Like, you got to do it. Like, any regrets on that, or has it been just an amazing experience or amazing results?
It's funny. I don't want to call it a regret, but I think my very first thing I would have told myself then, knowing what I know today, I would have said start with at least a 4 unit. Move into
Well,
one of the units, but start with a 4 unit. For no other reason that it just reduces the financial impact on a day-to-day basis for you as a new investor. It might be one extra unit to renovate or one extra unit to manage a tenant, but at the end of the day, that 4 unit, it would have changed my mindset much sooner in my investing career.
right.
Whereas a triplex still feels kind of like a home. It felt like a home. It was just like I have roommates in the basement, in the basement and let's say the second floor of my house. But a 4 unit, just the way they're structured, the way they're built, feels differently when
You're
you.
talking about purpose-built fourplexes.
That's right.
Uh,
Two on the main, two on the second.
And
Right.
I've noticed, I've driven around Quebec. There are many purposely built, actually. Correct me if I'm wrong. Fourplexes. I've seen entire neighborhoods that are all multiplex residential units, below, below the 6 units. They call them the residential type of. So it seems like a market that is very well developed there in Quebec.
Right. And this is one of the reasons why whenever I talk to non-Quebec residents around Canada, obviously through Zoom or meeting up with them at different events, I always say Quebec is an underrated market in the eyes of the rest of the world or Canada or whatever, right? It's underrated. And it's unfortunate because Quebec, again, my humble opinion, is a renter's province. It's a renter's market. Every province has renters. Every province has duplexes, triplexes, whatever, multi-units. But for some reason, Quebec always has the most number of renters and units on the market or whatever, units built. It is a renter's market. I mean, I understand why, the Anglophone community doesn't look at Quebec a Francophone community, and there's reasons for that, and I get it. And I understand, the rules are maybe a little bit different, but when I compare them to, let's say, Ontario, they're not that different, right? You just have to know how to understand the rules, right? If I think about Robert Kiyosaki, he said, I hate finances, I hate taxes, I hated it, but I knew I had to read and learn about taxes to build wealth. He didn't say riches, he said wealth. And it's kind of the same thing. I needed to know the rules in Quebec to be able to play within the rules, and I'm very big on that. I like understanding the rules so that I play within them and I'm not in the gray zone, and everybody is transparent and it's clean, but the rules are not that different. I mean, if I compare it to, let's say, Saskatchewan or out east, sure, they're different, but that's changing as well.
In fact, like fast forward to today, you would say you're pretty proficient with the rules in Quebec, right? Because, um, correct me if I'm wrong, but you've done, you have a portfolio that includes Quebec as part of it, right? If not all, I mean, educate us on this.
Yeah, so once that was done, I did a quick flip with my current business partner in another little suburb here of a duplex, turned that one around, and then we said, well, we're gonna move into the more of the multifamily range, the 6 units and more. At this point, I had a little bit more education, a lot more experience. And so we're currently holding, just a year ago, we bought 6 units in the eastern townships of Quebec. It's a very touristy, very higher education area. And it's well known. There's 2 very big universities that are nationally known. We also have 14 storage units, and a few weeks ago, maybe 3, we just closed on another 13 unit.
Nice.
Um,
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. And we're just once those close, I get back on that hunt, right? We keep hearing it. It's hunting season. It's hunting season because even if the interest rates are going higher, well, that means the prices and sellers are understanding. I may not sell this for what I thought I could, right? Maybe they're going to be more flexible. We heard that story a lot, right? People might become more flexible with their price, with their understanding of the market. So, hey, bids are going out. Another 11-unit bid went out on Tuesday, I think. And we're just gonna keep rolling like this, right?
It's nice. So, people can contact you to be part of those deals if they wanted to, right? Like or you already have all your investors in place and so on and so forth. I mean, you've already have like a business system going on, right? For growth and investing within Quebec.
So we like collaborations with partners. Our model isn't, again, I'm not a gray zone person. I know I'm wearing a gray blazer and a darker gray shirt, but I'm not a gray zone person. So knowing the rules, knowing about the rules, the collaborations with partners and our structure is a model I feel, and according to multiple experts in the field, is a model that is not only I'll call them transparent, but I can also expand with it, right? It's scalable. And the people that approach me, they're all common contacts, right? We know each other. So that's another thing I'd like to make sure, like I know you, Otto. If you ever came to me or I came to you, we're good, right? We know each other fairly well, and it's been a while now, I guess almost a year, maybe
Yeah.
less, around there, whatever. So yeah, I mean, I've taken so many calls, and it's not a hunting call, right? It's not a pitch call. It's really a, hey, Johnny, I got a question. I want to do this. I want to do that. How do I do that? What would you do? And all these things. And I gladly take those calls. I'm currently talking with somebody on and off from the Montreal area, and her and her husband are looking to get into maybe a 4-unit or a 3-unit, and they're asking me questions. What about Montreal? How come, John, you're not in Montreal? Why are you not, up in Quebec City? Or I live in Montreal, but I don't invest in Montreal, right? There's reasons there. And I like the markets that we invest in, the B plus markets, right? And so I'll take all these calls. One of my current partners and friends from a year ago, she's like, John, this is a great project, this and that. We got together, and then she said, but I want to get a condo on my own just to rent it out. Can I ask you questions? I was like, of course you can. Why wouldn't I answer your questions? It's going to help you. And so I not guided her, but just said, hey, just watch this or ask this question and all these things. And she ended up buying the condo, doing the renovations, and now she's renting that as well. So, she's expanding herself on that, her and her husband.
Yeah, I love that. It's that's the way that I like to do it as well. I mean, it's evolved to a time where calls are really about helping out, right? Like we learn, I've learned by, by reading books on success and leadership and wealth, that really you gotta give, right? You just have to give. You can't be thinking about taking. Actually, you just give, and then you just receive without knowing where you're going to get it from, right? And as you're helping people, you're also building relationships, and through these relationships is how you end up collaborating. Correct me if I'm wrong, but has been my experience, and I'm getting that from you too. Like, you're probably your investings and the groups that you're involved in wherever you are, in investing in real estate. It's through collaboration with friendships that have been forged simply by you giving value, giving knowledge, and people reaching out to you, which is really cool. I know that I've had that experience with you. You welcome people, you teach them, and then at the end, even though you give us all the knowledge, we still feel more comfortable in coming to you for any type of deal, because at the end of it all, you're there in that market and you know it better. And of course, we have the language barrier, which is something that you also are helpful with.
Living and growing up in Quebec, working at McDonald's through Cégep, living in the Eastern Townships for so long, having French babysitters, all these things, going to French school or French immersion schools, you're immersed in the culture here, and it is a culture, and it's a separate, unique, identifiable culture here in Quebec. It's tangible, and yeah, I mean, I'm fully bilingual, and not that you need to be,
Right.
but definitely, makes you a Quebec investor here versus the familiarity and the ease of investing is different, right?
Exactly.
So yeah, and I will take calls with anybody anytime, and I don't look for anything in return. And you know, I have people call me, I'm not happy with my purchase or my collaboration with XYZ. How do I do this? I'm like, look, it's none of my, I can't get involved, right? But ask these questions, right? And the reason I take so many calls, and people are like, John, you're wasting your time. You're not going to get anything out of it. I'm like, of course I'm getting something out of it. Somebody's coming into real estate not knowing anything. I came into real estate not knowing anything, but I also had nobody to teach me. And I didn't have that network. I didn't have the mindset of education. I've spent thousands of dollars on lawyers, on accountants, on bookkeepers, on training courses. Tons of money went out and just out. And the return is, I'm talking to Otto today. I'm talking to that person tomorrow. I talked to that person yesterday. Right? And that's my return. I have a small portfolio, and I humbly call it a small portfolio within the last 12 months of growth, soon to be a little bit bigger. Fingers crossed, by the end of the year. But if I can help somebody the way I wish I could have been helped, even from family members that did have real estate, they were not approachable necessarily, right?
Yes.
But now I'm able to just bring somebody to a level of comfort in what they know, and at least help them ask the right questions, right? Because I didn't have that, and I know how hard.
Well, that's really cool, Johnny. I mean, bilingual, not that you necessarily need it, experience in the real estate investing, an actual portfolio in Quebec, and the willingness to help. What more do you want? I love this. Johnny, I think, I think we should get together again and dig a little bit further, because I feel that there's so much more value that you can provide. For now, I think we're going to have to cut it short. And And I really thank you for your time today. If there's anything else that you want to you leave with before we hang up on this call, feel free.
It's the
And
same. It's the same thing I tell everybody. If you have questions, whoever's going to watch this, if you have questions, if you want to talk about the weather, if you want to talk about what you're doing, I'm on Facebook. I'm on LinkedIn. Haven't hit up. I'm not on TikTok yet. You know, I'm sort of on Instagram, but Facebook is probably the best way to reach me. Johnny Lombardo. I know my tag down here says my company name. It's Lombardo Parental Group Inc. And you can find me on Facebook there too, LPRE Inc. But Johnny Lombardo, you'll see the same face, but with a blue blazer. That's what you'll see.
That's amazing. Great. Well, thanks again, my friend, and I guess we'll speak to you all soon.
Yes, sir. Thanks again, Otto. Take care.
My pleasure. Bye for now.